Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. I hope your test went well. We are now going to start a new unit, and this unit will pretty much take us to spring break almost. Okay, it's a very important unit in Algebra 1. Some of you might have done some of this already, which is great. There's also going to be a lot of us that it's going to be new. Okay, so this unit is all about polynomials. The first thing we're going to learn is classifying, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. And then after the first quiz, we will go ahead and start learning about factoring and how to solve by factoring. So the first thing we're going to do today is talk about classifying polynomials, which actually is somewhat of a review for you guys. Okay, remember that a monomial is an expression that is a number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables. So, for example, 3x to the second would be a monomial. 4 would be a monomial because that's just a number. And y to the fifth would be a monomial. Okay? Something that would not be would be 3x plus 2, okay? Because that is classified differently. A polynomial is the sum or difference of two or more monomials. Okay. Now there's a couple rules we have for polynomials. First of all, they're separated by plus and minus signs. Okay, and each monomial in a polynomial is called a term. No variables can have negative exponents, and no variables can be in the denominator in order to be a polynomial. Also, no variables can have fractional exponents in order to be a polynomial. And lastly, no variables as an exponent as a polynomial. So, for example, an exponential function would not be a polynomial. So this part is renew for us. The degree of a polynomial in one variable is the largest exponent of the variable. Okay, so remember that we have to find the largest exponent. Okay, so if we had 4x to the fourth plus 3x to the second, the largest would be 4. If we had 2x to the second plus 3x to the third, the largest would be 3. Okay? When we're talking about the largest, we're talking about the exponent, okay? And it doesn't always mean that it's going to be the first one. Okay? So classifying polynomials, first one is a monomial. Okay? If you have two terms, remember terms are separated by plus and minus signs, is a binomial. 3 terms is a trinomial. And 4 or plus terms after that is just known as a polynomial. Okay. So that's classifying by the number of terms. Classifying by the degree 0 is a constant. Degree 1 is linear. Degree 2 is quadratic. Degree 3 is cubic. Degree 4 is quartic. Okay. Anything after the fourth degree 4, we would just say the 5th degree of something or the 100th degree of something. Okay, so for the first 5 numbers we have special names, but after that we just name it by its degree. Okay. Alright, so let's do some examples here. Okay, so we're going to complete the table by stating the degree, the number of terms, and then classify the polynomial by both degree and number of terms. So for the first example, we don't see a variable here, so we're assuming that that's x to the 0. So this would be degree 0. Number of terms is 1. So classification by degree and number of terms would be a constant monomial. Okay. For the second example, we have x to the first, which is degree 1, and we have two terms. Remember that terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So this would be a linear and then binomial. Alright, go ahead and pause the video, and after you do that, you guys are going to work on the next four on your own. Okay, and when you're done, show your partner, and then when you guys are done pausing the video, when you hit play, you will see all the answers. So go ahead and hit pause, please. Alright, so go ahead and compare your answers. Okay. And then let's go ahead and move on to another vocabulary word, which is the leading coefficient. Okay. The leading coefficient is the number in front of the variable with the largest exponent in the polynomial. Okay, so sometimes it might not necessarily be the first. Okay, it's going to be the number in front of the largest exponent. So for number 1, we would have 6. Okay. In number 2, the leading coefficient would be 5. In number 3, what do you think the leading coefficient would be? Good, it would be 2. And number 4, it would be negative 3. And then what's the leading coefficient in 5? Okay. Be careful that you didn't say 2, because this is the term with the largest exponent, so the leading coefficient is negative 5. Okay. And then number 6 would be 1. Okay, that's the number in front of the leading coefficient. So remember that the leading coefficient is the number in front of the variable with the largest exponent. Okay. Alright, so the next thing I want you guys to do is we're going to work on this table in our partners, okay? And you guys are going to go ahead and pause the video again, work out with your partners, share with your partners, and then when you guys hit play again, you will have the answers. Okay, so please go ahead and pause. Alright, so here are the answers. This section right here for the polynomial might be a little bit different than mine, but the degree, number terms, leading coefficient, and the classification should be all the same. Okay. And I will say for number 2, the leading coefficient should be negative 1 and should be x to the third, but this number, the plus 4, could be different. Okay. And then for number 3, you should only have x to the first, but this number could be different. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and not sure why I did that. Hold on. Right, I'm not sure why it moved off the screen, so we're just going to have to bear with it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is combining like terms. Okay, remember that like terms have the same exact variable raised to the same exact power. So number 1, it says identify the like terms. We have 2x to the second and x to the second. Those are the only like terms we have because 2x is just to the first, 2 is just x to the 0, and we have 2x to the third. Okay, go ahead and try number 2 and 3. And here's what you should have gotten for 2 and 3. Okay, when you combine like terms, remember that you have to add or subtract the coefficients, but you do not change the variables. Okay, sometimes we make the mistake of applying properties of exponents that you guys learned earlier this semester with combining like terms. Okay, combining like terms, you do not change the variable. So for example, in number 1, we have 6x to the second and 2x to the second as like terms. That is 8x to the second, not 8x to the fourth. And then we have 3x and negative x, which is going to be plus 2x. Alright, and then for number 2, we have negative 3y to the third and y to the third, which is negative 2y to the third. We have 3x to the second and 2x to the second, which is plus 5x to the second, and then minus 5y. Okay, whatever you guys need to use to keep your information organized is up to you. If you want to use different colors, or if you just want to use different shapes like I am, different lines. Okay. All right, let's jump down to number 4. So number 4 is a little bit different because notice that we have 2x to the second. Okay, so here we actually do have to apply our properties of exponents before we combine like terms. So this is 4x to the fourth minus 6x to the fourth plus x to the second. So that gives me negative 2x squared plus x squared. Oh, sorry, negative 2x to the fourth plus x squared. Okay, so notice that we had to apply our properties of exponents here, but then we keep the variable the way it is when we combine like terms. Okay. Alright, go ahead and pause and try number 5 on your own. Alright, and we should have done negative 3x to the plus 2x to the third plus 13. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Adding and subtracting polynomials. Before we do that, let's talk about what the standard form of a polynomial is. It's the degrees of its monomial terms decreased from left to right. So you write the highest exponent first and then down to the lowest exponent. So notice in our example, negative 9x to the fourth would come first, then 24x to the second, minus 12x plus 7. And remember that a constant has degree 0. Okay, so you're going to be asked to start writing these in standard form, which is from the highest exponent to the lowest exponent, not the leading coefficients. Okay. Alright, adding polynomials is the same as combining like terms. We add the coefficients, and remember not to change the variables. Okay. So, since there's the only numbers in front of these parentheses is just 1, when we distribute 1 through, we get the same answer. Okay, so this would be 3x to the second plus 7x minus 12. Okay, pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go ahead and go on to subtracting polynomials since I feel like that's just review for you guys. Okay. Subtracting polynomials, we must distribute the negative to each terms in the polynomial following it. That is going to be the number 1 mistake that we make. Okay, so we have to distribute the negative through to everything. Okay, and then go ahead and combine like terms. Okay, so biggest mistake that we'll make is forgetting to distribute that negative through. Okay, alright, let's go ahead and try numbers 2 and 5. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, try 2 and 5, and then we'll go from there. And these are the answers you should have gotten. For number 2, you need to make sure that you distribute the negative through to everything. Okay? And then combine like terms after that. And then notice in number 5, it was a plus sign, so you didn't need to distribute the negative through. And you should get negative 7k to the 4th. And then we have plus 3k to the 2nd minus 14k plus 6. Okay, so just make sure you guys pay attention if there's a negative that you need to distribute or not. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the page. We're just going to try 2 problems and then we'll be done with the notes. So go ahead and try 7 and 9. Pause the video, and then when you hit play again, you'll see the answers. Alright, here are the answers that you guys should have gotten. Just pay attention to arithmetic errors and to detail, and then I think you guys will be fine. Okay, so for the rest of the period, you guys are going to go under Schoology and go to Unit 12 Supplemental Material, and there's a graphic organizer on there. And with your group, I want you guys to go ahead and fill out the first 2 columns. Just fill out the examples. Okay, make sure you guys all have the same answers, and then you guys can have the remainder of the time to work on homework, which is worksheet A. Okay, please go ahead and use the rest of the time to get to work. I hope you guys all have a wonderful and safe weekend.